Hello student, let us learn concept of equilibrium. Let us understand the concept of equilibrium by simple example. Consider the forces acting on vehicle. Here, the reactive force from these two wheels, thrust and drag. Now, consider the forces acting on this ball. The force of friction, opposite to the applied force, weight of ball. So, now tell me, is those body are affected by number of forces? Yes or no? No. So, when a body is unaffected, even a number of forces are acting, the body that is in equilibrium. Now consider this body. Now, this man is resting on floor. Now, the weight of this man is acting downwards and normal reaction from floor that is acting in upward direction. Now the net force is 0, means the man that is the stationary person. Now you can see the free body diagram. Normal reaction from floor and weight of man, and net force is 0. So now this man that is in equilibrium. So now you can consider this body also. 50 in upward direction, 50 Newton in downward direction. Same way 75 in left and 75 in right direction. Now, here the body is unaffected, even a number of forces are acting. Now, you can say the body that is in the state of equilibrium. Now, in the mechanics of solids, we have three conditions of equilibrium. Now, you can consider this body. If the force is applied towards x direction, body will move towards x direction. Now, if the force is applied in y direction, body will move towards y direction. If the body is rotated about y, then body will rotate about y. Now, what about the conditions of equilibrium? It is the summation of all forces in x direction is 0, means no transition in x direction. Summation of all forces in y direction is 0, means no transition in y direction. Now, rotation about any point is 0, means rotation is also not there. So now let us understand the same by examples. Now you can consider this body. Now you can do the summation of force over here towards this direction. It is 9 plus 9, 18. Same way, the summation of forces in the opposite direction is also 18. So finally, the summation of forces are 0. Now, let us understand the same by examples. You can consider this building. So, although there are variety of forces are acting on building, but you can consider the wind force. Here, wind is blowing, right? So, wind force is applied over here. So whatever the total wind force applied over here, the same will be reacted by the building, right? So ultimately, the building is unaffected with the wind force, right? So the building is in equilibrium. So sigma fx is equal to 0, means algebraic sum of forces in x direction is 0. No translation in x direction. Consider if this body is affected by wind force, then what will happen? The body will translate in x. This building will translate in x, right? So right now this body is unaffected, so sigma fx is 0. Now next, algebraic sum of all forces in y direction is 0. Now you consider this body. Tension 1, tension 2, and what about the resultant? So ultimately the summation of this all forces, it's 0. So sigma Fy is 0. Now you can consider the same by very simple example. Here self weight of body acting downwards, same way the soil pressure acting upward direction, and summation of these two forces ultimately 0 because both are same. The self weight that will be again taken care by the soil pressure, right? So finally the summation of force is 0. So there is no transition in y direction. Now algebraic sum of moment of all forces about any point, or here we have point A, is 0. Now you consider this point A, right? Now what about the moment of this force 10 kilonewton? It is 10 multiplied by the perpendicular distance is 2. So 10 multiplied by 2, that is 20, and again it is clockwise. Same way, what about the effect of this force? It is 5 multiplied by perpendicular distance is 4. So 5 multiplied by 4, that is 20 kilonewton into meter anti-clockwise. So what about the resultant? 20 kilonewton into meter clockwise and 20 kilonewton into meter anti-clockwise. So summation of moment about A point is 0. So no rotation. Rotation is 0. Here you can consider the same with a very simple example. If there is a torque or torsion that is created by earthquake force, okay, so the same will be taken care by reactive force from the building. So finally there is no rotation, or you can say if it is a rotation, then there is no major damage in building, right? So finally the summation of force about any point is 0. That is what? That is sigma MA is equal to 0.